Trigger warning. Ghosts, ghouls, and gruesome stuff ahead. It's weird. It's dark. It's your kind of vibe. Welcome to Haunted and Homicidal, the podcast where true crime meets the paranormal. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Courtney. Every week we uncover the terrifying, the twisted, and the totally unexplainable. Lock your doors and grab your sage.
Because things are about to get haunted and homicidal.
Mischa ASMR. She'd like stop crunching.
She stopped crunching because she could hear London outside. She was like, you didn't even see the look on her face. The look on her face was even better than her just immediately pausing between crunches. Hey guys.
What's up?
We're having some technical difficulties again today. I don't understand what's happening. We think we would have this situated by now because we have been doing this for 22 weeks. We are on our 44th episode today.
Woo, woo.
But apparently we still suck at figuring this out. Sorry, not sorry about it. So today, after much harassment,
Wayne
and complaint,
Wayne,
we are finally going to finish out the Jerry Brudos episode. This is going to be part 3. It is going to be the shortest of the 3 episodes because we're almost done. Thankfully.
This is the last part.
Yeah, this is the last part. We're almost done. So we're just going to cover like the arrest and the sentencing and kind of like the investigation portion and what other crazy ass shit that happened during this entire case because it is pretty crazy.
So he can't harass us after this episode because it's the last part, Wayne.
Yeah.
No more parts.
No more parts. This is the end. All right. So we're just going to go ahead and get into it. So where we left,
Blah, blah, blah.
we didn't laugh because none of this is funny.
Hell no.
So where we left off last time, they started the search of his garage where they found the body parts that were encased in, the whatever it's called. I don't remember what it's called now.
Barrel,
The epoxy. They were coated in the epoxy.
The fact that he left it on the fucking mantle.
In his home. I'm guessing in the home. Like, where the fireplaces would be in the home. I wouldn't think it was in the garage, but yeah. So they found...
Like, how does his wife not notice
I
fucking boob?
I mean, if it was like
mantle.
if it was like upside down and the nipple part was facing down, like it would look like a bowl, I would question it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, but there's a lot about her that I just...
She probably said
something's
fuck it,
fishy,
I don't care.
but
Very fishy.
I don't know.
Why
I don't know
all
what
these girls in your stories make my eye twitch.
I don't know what was going on in her head, or if she just chose not to see it. Just decided to be ignorant to what was going on around her, based on the fact that she just hated him.
Dumbass.
I would kind of be concerned about what was going on in and around my house, just because I lived there and I didn't want to get dragged into anything.
And it's
but
like you
that's
got 2
me.
fucking kids. Like, I would be concerned about the kids. Like, I would be like, I don't trust this.
And mother-in-law. His mother-in-law, or his mom, I think, and her mom would visit or live there or something like that. And it was just, there's so many people, and it just didn't really make a whole lot of sense. So, by May 29th of 1969, investigators had amassed sufficient evidence relating to the attempted abduction of Gloria Smith, which again was that 15-year-old that we talked about the last episode, who he grabbed her up by her jacket. And the first opportunity she had when she saw somebody, she ran for help.
She was the only smart one.
Yeah. So that was that 15-year-old that did that. So thanks to her, he was under surveillance. And then because of that, they had enough to arrest him finally for that offense. But then, of course, at that time, they started kind of piecing these murders together, these disappearances, all these women, the bodies that were washing up in the river. So because of that incident, everything was starting to kind of come together and also come to an end because he wasn't able to be out and do what he did anymore. So he was discovered by Oregon State troopers hiding beneath a blanket in the rear of the family station wagon as his wife drove the vehicle toward Portland.
What the
So
dumbass.
the police were looking for him, and he convinced her to load up, him hide, and she drive.
Like, how does she not...
out of town.
No.
My question would have been why?
Like,
Why do you need to... Why are you hiding? Why are the police after you? What is going on? I'm a ride or die, but I'm also going to have questions. Okay? So the following evening, Brudos placed a phone call to his wife asking her to destroy further incriminating evidence, although his wife refused the request, thankfully.
But yet she drove his at... Bitch, dumbass.
Yeah, I think at that time she just maybe thought it was not what it was. It just was like a different kind of offense that he was trying to elude for, maybe money laundering.
Or he probably said, hey, I need a nap, you drive, and I'm going to sleep in the back.
Maybe. But I think she knew something was going on because the police were involved. But I don't think she realized it was this. Like, she probably thought it was just some kind of criminal offense, but maybe not like to this extreme. So, following his second arrest, Brudo was extensively questioned with regards to developments pertaining to the discoveries within his garage and his connection to the missing and murdered young women, those of whom investigators had positively identified as Whitney, Sprinker, and Saley. Those were the three that they pulled out of the river that the fishermen found. He initially denied any involvement with any of those cases, dismissing the evidence as circumstantial for several days before gradually divulging his erotic fetishes and outlining how deeply ingrained they had become and had subsequently severely impacted his daily life. So, at this point, Brudos is like, okay, you caught me. I'm going to confess.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you guys everything you want to know. And his confessions are chilling. He has no remorse.
Of course not.
No, he has no conscience, no nothing. You know, last episode we talked about how he told the police during the investigation about the pictures, if I didn't take pictures of them, they wouldn't exist.
Exactly.
So they were just things to him. They were not people. They were not human. They were not anything. So by early June, he had provided investigators with a full confession to all 4 murders, which he subsequently outlined for police and later psychologists. He began by outlining the opportunistic murder of Linda Slauson, who was the first killed, the young girl who was selling the Encyclopedia Britannicas. At that time, he was not able to remember what her name was.
Of course not.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
Again, he doesn't care. These are not people to him. They are things.
He wanted their feet.
Yeah. So this murder had not been linked to him, but he did later admit that the murder had been instigated mainly because of the attractive high-heeled shoes she was wearing when she accidentally entered his property hoping to sell the encyclopedias before outlining each of the subsequent murders and attempted murders. I don't know why I can't say outlining today.
Clearly.
That's the one word I'm tripping on. Although Brudos acknowledged ultimate responsibility for his crimes, he remained somewhat resistant when questioned with regards to aspects of reasoning and premeditation, simply stating at one stage, quote, "There must be something wrong with me."
You think?
Do you fucking think? So he would not give any kind of inclination as to why.
Because he probably didn't really know why in his head.
Yeah,
he was just like, it's just something he had to do.
And he escalated so quickly. Before, it was just theft of the high heels and wanting to keep a woman hostage, never actually doing it. Then he would just choke them out and steal their high heels. Then it got to raping them and stealing their high heels. Then it got to kidnapping, raping, murdering, sometimes murdering, then raping, then stealing the high heel shoes, then dressing them up. So it was like a slow increase, but when shit started happening, it happened so quick and with so much violence. It was insane. He denied harboring a hatred of women, but admitted that the act of killing them enabled him to quote unquote let off steam.
Pretty much kill his mother.
So yeah, and I think that's what all this boils down to is the way his mom treated him when he was younger and, you know, his interests or whatever she deemed unworthy. And she wanted him to be a female anyway. So from the fucking second they knew he was a boy, his mother hated him.
Exactly.
And so what other outcome do you think is going to happen to a child who knows you hate them, who knows you wanted a different gendered child, who treated you poorly, who treated your older sibling way, way better, even into adulthood? What do you think is going to happen?
Exactly.
It's not just going to be a hatred towards you. It's going to be a hatred towards you and all women, because he's not going to be able to differentiate you from another female who may not have the same personality or values.
Exactly.
The psychiatrist who examined Brudos concluded he was unable to achieve satisfaction from normal intercourse, and that the overriding motive behind his crimes was lust, adding that even in cases where Brudos had killed women he had encountered in moments of opportunism, he ultimately knew that he was just going to end up killing the victim.
Yeah.
So even though it was an opportunistic grab, an opportunistic abduction, he knew that whoever it was that he took that day, they were not making it out alive.
Yeah.
He knew that. So in a sense, it was premeditated. It wasn't premeditated in the sense of, I want this specific person. It was, whoever I can find today, I'm going to rape and murder them. Whoever that is.
Yeah.
Whoever that is. It wasn't stalking somebody or this and that and the other, unless he saw them like in the parking garage and then he kind of stalked them at that point. But it wasn't like he was following women around for weeks.
Yeah.
And then finally deciding this is the moment. No, he just took that opportunity for whoever it was, knowing he was going to kill them at the end of it. So, photographs Brudos had taken of two of his victims were conclusively matched to the victims discovered in the Long Tom River, and his description of Whitney and her abduction matched sufficiently the circumstances surrounding her November 1968 abduction to identify her as his second murder victim. Although, again, the first victim, Slauson, she initially remained unknown and, was tagged Jane Doe. He was appointed an attorney named Dale Drake, and an arraignment hearing was scheduled for 9 a.m. on June 4th of 1969. Brudos was formally charged with the murders of Whitney, Sprinker, and Saley on June 4th. In response to an entered plea of not guilty, of course, by reason of insanity, no. He is crazy, but, he knew what he was doing.
Exactly.
There's a big difference. At his initial arraignment, Brudos was subjected to a battery of psychiatric examinations by several doctors who unanimously concluded that he was sane and thus competent to stand trial.
Yeah.
The burden of proof when you are trying to have a case that says not guilty by reason of insanity is so fucking hard. So hard. Because it is so hard for a psychiatrist to determine whether or not that person, when acting upon that instinct at that time, knew what the consequences were. Like with the Slender Man murders, right? Or the Slender Man stabbing. Those were children. And that girl was very, very psychotic. She was in a psychotic episode. She did not know. She didn't fully comprehend that what her actions were could be the end of somebody, the end of her life, the end of the victim's life, the end of Peyton's life.
Yeah.
She didn't understand that. So that is why she got the insanity defense. Most adults know what they're doing.
Because she listened to Voldemort and Snape.
We're going to leave Snape out of this. We do not talk about Alan Rickman like that, okay?
I know, but
We don't.
She's the one that says she listens to Snape. She's
going to get fucked up and smacked up. I mean, she's back in jail now, probably. I haven't even looked up to see what happened to her yet, but yeah. As such, Brudos was informed his trial was to be held on June 30th. So the judge was like, yeah, no, you're not crazy. The psychiatrists, psychologists, everybody said you're not crazy. You can stand trial. You're going to get what you get, and you're not going to throw a fit. On June 27th, 1969, which was just 3 days before his trial was scheduled to commence, Brudos formally entered a plea of guilty to 3 counts of first-degree murder before Marion County Circuit Court Judge Val D. Sloper. He was sentenced to 3 consecutive terms of life imprisonment with the possibility of parole to be served in Oregon State Penitentiary.
No parole. No parole.
Basically, what happened was his attorney told him, take the fucking plea deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is just going to be a life imprisonment. It's not going to be the death penalty. If you go to trial in front of a jury of your peers, they are going to give you the death penalty.
Yes.
Take the deal. So he thought on it 3 days before his trial date, before he was going to get that death penalty sentence. Yeah. He said, okay, I'll take the plea deal. I'll just go to jail. Fucker. And again, he was sentenced to 3 consecutive terms of life imprisonment. So, of course, he appealed.
Of course.
It is their right to do so. So, he appealed several times. His first appeal was September 22nd of 1970. He challenged the consecutive life sentences with validity of guilty pleas. The court ruling, the Oregon Supreme Court affirmed all convictions and sentences. Nope. Let me rephrase that.
Okay.
The way I said it was wrong. The Oregon Supreme Court affirmed all convictions and sentences. So they basically said, we're not finding fault with anything.
Yeah.
Your convictions and the sentence stand, period. The court ruled that multiple life sentences could run consecutively. They referenced State versus Andrews from 1970. I didn't look that up, but basically when they reference a prior case, it's about that situation. So in that case, they made it so life sentences could run consecutively. So he couldn't do one life sentence and then get out of jail and then start another life sentence. No, they run consecutively. So, under ORS, which was Oregon Supreme Law, 138.050, only sentencing questions could be appealed after a guilty plea. Issues about the plea itself had to be raised separately. So, they were saying he could appeal after he made the guilty plea. However, if there were issues about his plea, if it were coerced, if it were forced, it had to be a separate issue. Yeah. They had to do it separately. So this was because Brudos tried to undo his own guilty plea, but the appeal was limited to whether his punishment was excessive. The court found no error. He wasn't appealing innocence. He was testing his control. So he was saying, yeah, I pled guilty to 3 murders, but why am I being sentenced individually to these 3 murders? Why is it not just one consecutive, one, instead of 30 years plus 30 years plus 30 years, making it 90 years? Why is it not just one 30-year sentence? That's what he was appealing. He did not want it to run consecutively. He wanted it to be bundled into one nice little package where he only had to serve 30 years.
Nah, bitch, you murdered 3 people.
Right.
You get 30 years for each fucking person.
I don't know how many years he actually got. I was just using that as a reference. But basically, he was saying, if you bundled it, I could be out by the time I'm 70.
Nah, bitch.
But if it's consecutive, I'm there for life, which was what a life sentence means. It is for your entire life.
Yeah, you don't need to come out, dude.
Yeah. We saw how that happened the last 3 fucking times he was put in a psychiatric ward or arrested and held on.
Oh, he's not a danger to the public.
Bitch, look what happened now.
Not a problem with police officers. It's a problem with detectives. So, his second appeal, which was October 23rd of 1979. The issue, he claimed ineffective counsel, lack of understanding of the guilty plea, which again, he tried to say the insanity defense. He's trying to say he didn't understand what it meant if he pled guilty, which again, the attorney explained to him, if you take the plea, it's not a death sentence. It is life in prison.
Would you rather the death sentence do?
Take
you'll get the plea. Fucking death sentence.
Yeah. And he also said there was non-disclosure of evidence.
Bruh, so you had a garage full of evidence.
But it's called discovery in court. And basically what that means is prosecution or the defense has to provide exactly what evidence they have to the opposite attorney. So everything the defense has, the prosecution has to know. Everything the prosecution has, the defense has to know. And that's just how the fucking judicial system works. So they go down the list of the evidence they have. They try to, for the defense, they try to give a reason or a justification or get them out of what this evidence is. So he is saying that they did not disclose this evidence to him prior to him taking the guilty plea. Don't look at me like that. I'm not even looking at you, but I can feel your eyes burning on my face.
The fuck?
Yes. So, the court ruling, he was denied post-conviction relief. His attorneys were found competent. It was found that they did what they were supposed to do. They were knowledgeable. They did not withhold information. His lawyer's insanity defense was not reasonable given overwhelming evidence and confessions. Not attending one psychiatric exam was an inadequate counsel. So basically what happened was the attorney was like, yeah, I will go to these psychiatric evaluations with you just in case. He didn't attend one evaluation where they found him competent. They found him sane. The court was saying just because the attorney didn't go to this does not mean it was not effective counsel.
Yeah.
It does not take away from the evidence. It does not take away from your confessions that match the evidence. Monitoring of his psychiatric session didn't violate any rights. The attorney did not know it was being monitored. So he was saying it was ineffective counsel because somebody was monitoring the evaluation and the attorney didn't tell him, but the attorney also didn't know, which he didn't have to.
Yeah.
They didn't have to. It was found that his guilty pleas were found knowingly and voluntarily entered, which again, before, when they ruled it the last time he did the appeal, they did not find anything indicating that he had been coerced, he had been forced, or beaten to death, or anything like that in order to give these confessions. They were just sitting in the room and he decided to start talking, which is how it works. So the exculpatory photo was already seen by Brudos and counsel, and which was not evidence of innocence. So basically the photos that he had that pretty much had the evidence, he saw them. Him and his attorney saw them. So they're like, no.
Because, dude, you're in one of the fucking pictures.
Yes, in the fucking mirror. Yes. So, basically, the court rejected every fucking argument, as they should have, calling his attorney's performance, quote, the opposite end of the spectrum from inadequate. So, they were saying he had very effective, very competent attorneys who did what they were supposed to do. Just because he was found guilty did not make them incompetent. It just meant the prosecution had a better case.
What the fuck?
There was more evidence pointing to him being guilty. So he claimed incompetence, but the court saw only arrogance and hindsight manipulation, which is basically what he did. He was a manipulator. I don't know. Probably KK. So his third appeal, October 4th of 1977, he requested change of venue for post-conviction hearings due to pre-trial publicity. So before the trial, this was like so public.
Yeah.
So public. So he requested a change of venue, which a lot of the time they already do that. Like when Officer McKeithen was murdered in May several years ago, even though the court case still has not gone to court yet. It's been like 5 years. It has not gone to court yet. When they do have court, it's going to be in North Mississippi because there are too many people down here on the coast that are linked to him and Officer McKeithen that they feel like they probably would not get an unbiased jury. Yeah. And that is the goal of jury selection, is an unbiased jury, which is why they usually do a change of venue. So the motion was denied. Okay. Post-conviction cases are judge decided, not jury trial, so publicity was irrelevant.
Okay.
So this wasn't even an objection to the initial court case, the court trial happening, because he didn't get a trial because he pled guilty. He pled it out. This was any kind of hearing. Since he's been arrested, he wanted a different judge. He wanted a different venue because of publicity. The judge is like,
bitch.
No one's going to be influenced here. It's judge decided, not happening. So now the ORS 138.560, which is another of like the statutory laws from the state, did not authorize venue change. The judge found security concerns more compelling. So they didn't authorize the change of venue, but the judge was kind of like, high profile case, there may be some concerns about security. But it didn't make a difference. The court determined no abuse of discretion under 131.355 or 131.363. So that's basically the same thing about the moving of the venue. The judge or the court determined that the judge did not abuse anything that was in that statute. The jury or the trials didn't abuse anything like that. So there was no grounds for this appeal to hold any kind of footing. So judges, not juries, hear post-conviction motions. So his quote-unquote unfair publicity argument failed.
Of course.
So again, behind bars, he was still trying to control the judge and the court.
No.
Yeah. So his fourth and final appeal, which was federal habeas corpus appeal. And habeas corpus just means provide the body. Mm-hmm. And that was July 9th of 2002, so 23 years ago. He claimed due process violation when Oregon changed its parole hearing procedures between 1995 and 1996. So Brudos received biennial parole hearings under the 1969 law. In 1995, board ended hearings, then reinstated a biennial review system in 1996 without formal hearings. The court ruling, his claim was still live because he received less consideration than before 1995. His due process claim was rejected. Statutes from 1969 to 1975 never guaranteed formal parole hearings, only periodic reviews or interviews. Biennial consideration met constitutional standards under the Greenholz versus Nebraska penal inmate. So another case that had this exact same thing where they had to make new statutes. It met all of the standards. Yeah. Every box was ticked. There was no evidence that procedure change deprived him of any liberty interest. So basically they're saying, like, even though the system changed on how they were reviewing these cases, his case wasn't pushed back. Mm-mm. His hearings, his appeals, his interviews still happened as they should. And that program change did not stop him from having these interviews, right? Yeah. He still had them. So basically he was saying, well, these program things, maybe I could have gotten out. Maybe I could have had a different...
Bitch, we ain't letting you out.
Yeah. So he was in jail. He was trying to do everything he could do. He was grasping at straws, and he was making issues where there were no issues to be found. So he argued parole changes robbed him of his rights, which it didn't, because he is there for life and he still gets his biennial review. Mm-hmm. But the court found that the new system was lawful and constitutional and did not affect him in any way whatsoever.
Exactly.
So even decades later, he was still trying to control and manipulate. Decades later. This was 2002? Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2002. So across 4 decades, he appealed every 10 years. Mm-hmm. Across 4 decades, every single appeal failed. The courts consistently ruled that 1, his guilty pleas were valid and informed, so he knew what he was doing when he made those statements. Mm-hmm. 2, his attorneys acted competently and strategically, so they did what they were supposed to do and advised their client the way they should have. At
this point, they should have just fucking done it and gave him the fucking death sentence.
Right. Right.
Get it done with.
But they advised him effectively and knowledgeably for him to make the decision on whether he wanted a jury trial or if he wanted just to go ahead and plea it out. He chose to plea it out. So the publicity did not prejudice judicial fairness because there was no jury selection. Mm-hmm. It was just the judge, and it's based on evidence. What a lot of people don't understand is when you are on a jury or when you're a judge, they give you a set of standards that the case has to meet. Mm-hmm. So if the case meets standard 1, standard 3, but not standard 2 and standard 4, you're not getting a guilty sentence.
Yeah.
It has to match every single standard that is on that outline in order to do a guilty plea or a guilty sentence.
Yeah.
Which is typically why it takes juries days, weeks, months. Because there is always going to be that one person that thinks standard number 2 doesn't quite meet and they just all have to talk it through. You don't just go in there and you say guilty or innocent. There are standards, and the same with the innocents. If 1 and 2 apply, but 3 and 4 don't, not innocent.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's the same across the board. So he is basically saying it wasn't fair because it was public. No, they did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
And it was ruled 4 times. There was no fallacy, no problem. Oregon's parole system changes did not violate his due process because he was still interviewed. He still got his biennial review. He was still able to go to his hearings. It did not stop any of that. So, basically, they're saying that all of his appeals were born out of obsession of power and control, not because he was remorseful.
No.
It wasn't because he was sorry for what he had done or he felt bad or he wanted a chance to redeem himself. No, he did it because he thought he was going to get away with it.
Exactly.
Which is why he did everything he did. So, now we're going to talk about Ralphie's involvement. If you remember, Ralphine is his wife. Okay. This is why.
Because there's no fucking way she didn't fucking know anything.
Just wait.
Oh, God.
This is wild.
Okay. Give it to me.
You're not going to be happy.
God damn it.
Yeah, you're not going to be happy.
Well, that bubble just got crushed. Thanks for that.
Sorry. Better let you know ahead of time than at the end. But you're still going to be like, what the fuck? So, okay. Despite Brudos' insistence that his wife had known nothing about any of his crimes and his insistence he had forced her to drive the family station wagon from their home on the date of his arrest, as he hid within the vehicle, on August 7th of 1969, Ralphine Brudos was formally indicted for the first-degree murder of Karen Sprinker. These charges were initially filed in relation to an eyewitness account from an individual who claimed to have seen Brudos' wife assisting him in forcing a blanket-covered young woman into their property on the date of Sprinker's disappearance. Ralphine, however, denied any knowledge of the crime, and the eyewitness's account was refuted by other witnesses at her September 1969 trial. The Brudos children were taken into state care, and Teresa, who was 7, was later instructed to undergo questioning at her mother's upcoming trial. Ralphine was acquitted of all charges the following month. She regained custody of both of her children and ultimately divorced and severed all contact with Jerry, changed her name, and relocated to an undisclosed state, although Brudos professed his love for her the remainder of his life, so the entire time he still said he loved her. She later told reporters in the 1980s that she was quote-unquote young and naive and never questioned what he did in the garage.
What the fuck?
Like I said, I knew that was going to be your response.
What
I knew.
the fuck?
Yep. Yep. So, she escaped trial, but she didn't escape the haunted past that she would have to live with for the rest of her life.
Bitch.
So Brudos was never brought to trial for the murder of Linda Slauson, who was the first young lady he murdered, though he had confessed to the murder, and several Polaroid photographs discovered in his garage corroborated his admissions of having photographed her appendages. But he was never tried for her murder due to insufficient real evidence, because although Brudos had retained photographs of her lower legs, ankles, and feet, he had not photographed other areas of her body after her death. As such, the photos could not have been proven to be her, or whether or not they were taken while she was alive or she was dead.
Yeah.
So, like, if he had pictures of her face, they could kind of tell whether or not she was dead, but it was just of her legs and her feet and her ankles. So we know he murdered her, but he was never formally charged or convicted of her murder.
Yeah.
So, in the years following his incarceration, Brudos became a model prisoner. Don't they fucking all?
Ugh.
Assigned clerical duties by the 1970s, he later utilized his electronics skills to maintain the prison's computer record systems and install...
Why did you let him... No.
He would be the last. But because he was really smart and good with engineering and electrical stuff, they were like...
Go hire a fucking engineer, not him.
Why hire them when you can pay this man 3 cents a minute or 3 cents an hour?
No.
Why?
He don't need to do that shit.
Just like in Orange is the New Black, they had them fixing the alarm systems, the water sprinkler systems. Yeah. Have you ever seen?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So like they have like a work duty where some of them plow the fields, like grow the crops or whatever. A lot of them do like the janitorial work, cleaning up and whatever. And then they had them they were also having them make clothes, but before they started making clothes, they were in this little like enclosed room about this big, and they were fixing alarm clocks. They were fixing lamps. They were doing electrical work. Yeah. So this is not like an uncommon thing in prisons, but he had the skills already, so utilize them, right? I would rather utilize a skill than just have a prisoner just sit there and stare at me all day. I'd be like, you want to fucking fight? Fight you.
Knock him out.
So again, they utilized his electronic skills to maintain the prison's computer system records and install a cable television network, in addition to being entrusted with stocking, repairing, and maintaining the prison vending machines. So, I mean, like, nothing really that he could, like, get out and, like, escape doing, you know? He wasn't, like, on the side of the road picking up trash or anything like that. Like, he wasn't running. They were just like, fix this, stock this.
Yeah.
As a convicted sex offender, Brudos is known to have endured several physical assaults by fellow inmates.
Good.
Although in each instance, he refused to name his assailants, probably because they would do much worse.
You're my bitch.
So he was hit in the head with a bucket of water. And on January 1st of 1970, he was treated for rectal bleeding that was being classified as being caused by quote-unquote hemorrhoids or quote-unquote other.
He was someone's bitch.
It was the other. Brudos was also permitted to order mail order catalogs depicting women modeling high-heeled shoes and underwear.
What?
He used this material to fuel his erotic and masturbatory fantasies in jail.
Why did you... No. Why?
I'm confused.
Why would you let it... No.
This was the 70s. I don't know how shit worked then. I don't know how shit works now, but I didn't think you could do stuff like that.
Why would you let... No. That's the... No.
For a man who murdered women because of their shoes. Like, that would be the last fucking thing I would allow him to have.
Exactly. Like,
the last thing. So, Brudos attended numerous parole hearings throughout his confinement, which we had 4.
Mm-hmm.
All declined.
Mm-hmm.
Family members of his victims consistently attended the hearings to request that he remain incarcerated for the duration of his life. So that's one of the things about the appeals process and the hearings. In a situation like this, the victims' families are notified. Mm-hmm. They're notified of when the hearing is. They're notified of what the hearing is about. And they are welcome to come and give victim statements. Again, impactful victim statements. And a lot of the time, especially when it's murder, the main thing they are there for is to ask them not to release that person at all. So on June 21st of 1995, he was informed that he would spend the remainder of his life in prison. Again, that was after his final appeal, and they're saying, no more. No more.
You're done.
Nonetheless, Brudos continued to attend informal parole hearings every 2 years for the remainder of his life, which, again, he was denied every single time. While incarcerated, Brudos granted several interviews to numerous individuals of varying professions. One of these individuals was a former Marion County detective named Jim Burns, who later recollected a conversation with Brudos regarding compassion and remorse, in which he asked, quote unquote, "Do you feel some remorse, Jerry? Do you feel sorry for your victims, for the girls who died?" In response, Brudos picked up a section of paper from the table between the two. He crunched the section of paper into a ball, threw the ball on the floor, replying, "That much. I care about those girls as much as I care about that piece of wadded up paper."
Bitch.
Yeah. Zero. Less than zero remorse. He cared about that piece of paper basically more than he cared about what he did to those girls. It's fucking... Like, my body is vibrating right now. I'm upset. Like, and I've known this story for a very long time. I did extensive research on this story, but it upsets me. It upsets me. Like, so much. Just because he doesn't have any...
He's an asshole.
There's no recourse. He doesn't feel upset about any of it. So, psychiatrist Michael H. Stone identified Brudos as having a psychopathic personality.
Yes.
Noting his callousness and lack of remorse for his crimes. However, on March 28th of 2006 at 5:10 a.m., he died of liver cancer.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
At the time of his death, He was, now it would have been like, it would have been poetic justice if he had died of like testicular cancer. It would have been poetic justice. Cancer in general, yeah, but not liver cancer. Like, whatever. But testicular cancer, that would have been glorious.
I mean, he could have got to that part. Who knows?
Yeah, that would have been glorious.
Because he could have started in his liver and then gone down.
But it didn't. It was just liver. So at the time of his death, he was 67 years old and the longest incarcerated inmate in the Oregon Department of Corrections, having served a total of almost 37 years imprisonment. So, almost 37 years. This man was in jail since he was 30. Because he was 67 at death and he had been there almost 37 years.
Well.
He was young. Young. And Ralphine, yes, she was also young and naive. But again, if you remember, she fucking hated him.
I don't care. She's still a bitch.
Hated him.
She's still a bitch.
Yeah, I don't understand. So, upon receipt of news of Brudos' death, the younger sister of Jan Whitney informed a reporter, quote, "As soon as I heard he was dead, I started crying, and it wasn't for him. It was for our family. He put our family through hell. You're really never the same." How could you be?
Exactly.
Especially, you have an ending, okay? Obviously not the ending you want. You would hope that she would have been found alive, or accidental death, not what happened to her. And then on top of you finding out what did happen to her, who did it, how it happened, when it happened, what she must have gone through, the person who did it gave 0 fucks. Zero. So the sentiment was echoed by one of the detectives assigned to the case, James Stovall, who stated, quote, "I'm satisfied he has died. It's just good riddance. He was a true monster." And then, unfortunately, the body of Linda Slauson was never found.
Aww.
So that was one of the main reasons that they could not convict him. They couldn't charge him. They couldn't convict him. Because, again, the habeas corpus, present the body. There was no body. There were just these photographs and she was missing. So they had no proof that she was dead. But we know she was dead. And we know who did it. We know what happened. He admitted to it.
Because wasn't her boob in the freaking house?
Not hers. Hers was the foot that he disarticulated and used frequently, and then he ended up getting rid of it when it started to disintegrate and go bad. So thank you guys for sticking with us for 3 episodes.
You should be happy he got his last episode.
Yeah. There's your final episode, honey, because you've been driving me nuts about it for the past week. And I told you we were skipping a week because we had Christmas stuff to do. But here it is.
Listen.
No. But, yeah, it was just a wild story. And I'm on the fence about Ralphine. I don't know whether or not to believe that she knew something.
Bitch knew.
I mean, especially as a young, quote unquote, naive female, I would be looking and snooping and look.
Exactly. Bitch knew.
But again, in the 60s, that's the time where it was women didn't work, men ruled the household, and they beat their wives when they didn't.
But he
wasn't. He was not physically.
Bitch knew.
Yeah.
Because how are you going to have a fucking boob on the fucking mantle?
I don't know.
Bitch knew.
I don't know.
The bitch knew.
There's just something not kosher there. But I was not there. I am not her. And maybe if she did know, she may have been at that time too scared to say something for fear of him attacking her or their children.
It's called take the children and go. Be like, hey,
but
I'm visiting mom. Goodbye.
After his death, I would feel like if she did know something, she may have come forward. Or maybe not because it's too late.
Yeah.
It's too late now. I don't know. It's a crazy one for sure. It's like so much happened in the open, in public.
Exactly.
And this is not a street that only had a sprinkling of houses. These were like my neighborhood. House. Other street. House. Other street. House.
Because there's no way nobody not saw nothing.
Yeah, I don't get it. But Brudos is dead. And we're thankful for that.
Hallelujah.
It's crazy. I don't like it. He is one of my least liked murder guys. Mainly because of like the feet thing. That's just but he was also just a piece of complete shit. They all are.
Yes.
But he was like a special piece of complete shit.
Yes.
And now my left eyeball feels like it's going to pop out of its socket. I have a headache again. But thank you guys for sticking with us so far. Again, this is episode 44. We're coming up on 50. I'm so excited. We thank everybody who has supported us, those who continually listen, those who are bringing in new listeners. We appreciate it. Again, you guys can support us on patreon.com/hauntedandhomicidal when you guys can afford to do so. I know things are like real stupid right now and I hate it. Everything is so expensive and I'm tired of it. I spent $123 on stocking stuffers yesterday for 4 people.
I still have to go grocery shopping.
I do too.
I'm done adulting.
I'm so over it.
I need to find a sugar daddy who doesn't want sugar, who I just be like, hey, how are you? I'm good. Here's $10,000.
Yes.
Like, bruh.
I need the same thing. They don't exist.
They don't.
But see, you could give the sugar. I couldn't give the sugar. So I need you.
You need me.
I need you to find a sugar daddy and like sugar him up. Okay? And get like 20,000 and just give me like 8. That's all I need is like $8,000. I'll be happy. That's all I need right now. Anyway, if you guys have any stories you want us to cover or anything you want to say, you can always find us at hauntedandhomicidal@gmail.com. We're waiting to hear from you guys. We like to hear from you guys.
Please.
And then Facebook, that's where you're going to see all the pictures that we post weekly of the stories that we cover. Any
Or
links.
Instagram.
Or yeah, and I forget about Instagram because it's linked to Facebook, so it automatically posts when I do the Facebook one. I forget we have an Instagram. I forget we have a Twitter. I don't think anything gets posted on Twitter.
No, I think you just have like the...
I'm too busy. Like, I'm sorry. I work. I have kids. I'm too fucking busy to do social media. I edit. I put the shit on Facebook, and I don't think about it again until I edit the next time. I just don't. But, thank you guys for listening. Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.
We're back. We just wanted to say this is the last episode of the year. Okay, bye. Love you. Bye. Okay, bye.